You're looking at machines that represented the absolute pinnacle of agricultural engineering. Tractors so advanced, so brilliantly designed, that they made American and Japanese competitors look like toys. But here's the problem. Being the best doesn't guarantee survival. These European tractors were engineering masterpieces that pushed boundaries, incorporated revolutionary technology, and set standards the industry would follow for decades. Yet every single one of them failed commercially. Not because they were bad, but because they were too good, too expensive, and launched at exactly the wrong time. Today, we're counting down 10 European tractors that were absolute genius but doomed from the start. Number 10. Lanz Bulldog D9531, 1950s. Let's start with a German icon that refused to evolve. The Lanz Bulldog wasn't just a tractor, it was a cultural phenomenon in post-war Europe. These machines ran on a hot-bulb semi-diesel engine that could burn practically anything. Diesel, vegetable oil, even waste oil. For farmers scraping by after World War II, this fuel flexibility was invaluable. The D9531 represented Lanz's attempt to modernize while keeping their famous single-cylinder design. This beast produced around 55 horsepower from a massive single-cylinder engine. You could hear these things coming from miles away. A distinctive pop-pop-pop that became the soundtrack of European agriculture. But here's where brilliance met economics. While the hot bulb engine was incredibly fuel flexible and simple to maintain, it was also monumentally inefficient by 1950s standards. The engine required preheating with a blowtorch before starting. Imagine doing that on a freezing winter morning. More critically, manufacturing costs remained stubbornly high because each engine required extensive hand fitting. When John Deere acquired Lanz in 1956, they quickly realized these tractors couldn't compete with modern multi-cylinder diesels. The Bulldog's production costs were nearly double that of comparable conventional tractors. The romance of the single-cylinder couldn't overcome the mathematics of mass production. By 1960, the Bulldog was history, replaced by conventional Deere designs that farmers didn't love but could actually afford. Number 9. Renault 16094T Z1990. Fast forward to the 1990s, and French manufacturer Renault produced something genuinely revolutionary, a tractor with a transmission so advanced it wouldn't become industry standard for another 20 years. The 16094TZ featured Renault's turbo continuously variable transmission, one of the first true CVT systems in agricultural equipment. This wasn't just marketing fluff. Farmers could select their desired speed, and the tractor would automatically adjust engine RPM and transmission ratio to maintain that speed while optimizing fuel consumption. Need to slow down for a turn? The system handled it seamlessly without touching any controls. The engineering was spectacular. Renault's system used a combination of hydraulic pumps and motors that could infinitely vary the ratio between engine and wheels. Under heavy load, it automatically downshifted. On easier terrain, it optimized for fuel economy. This was Tesla-level innovation So why did it fail? The system added approximately 30,000 to 40,000 francs to the tractor's cost, roughly 15 to 20% over comparable models. Worse, European farmers in the mid-1990s were facing severe economic pressure from cap reforms. They needed basic, reliable, affordable equipment. The CVT system, while brilliant, also required specialized maintenance that rural mechanics couldn't always provide. Parts were expensive and sometimes took weeks to arrive. Renault eventually withdrew from tractor manufacturing entirely, selling the division to German manufacturer CLAs. Today, CVT transmissions are standard on premium tractors, but Renault paid the price for being first. Number 8. Steyr 8090 SK. 1980s. Austrian precision meets agricultural equipment. Steyr built tractors the way they built alpine mountain equipment, over-engineered, indestructible, and priced accordingly. The 8090 ASK represented Steyr's flagship in the 1980s, featuring a turbocharged 4.6-liter engine producing 90 horsepower. That doesn't sound revolutionary until you examine how they achieved it. Steyr used a unique injection system with individual pump elements for each cylinder, providing injection pressures and atomization quality that competitors wouldn't match for years. The cab was perhaps the most advanced in Europe. Factory-installed air conditioning, exceptional visibility, and sound insulation that actually worked. While farmers and American tractors were going deaf from engine noise, Steyr operators worked in library quiet comfort. But this Austrian perfectionism came at a brutal cost. The 8090 R6 sold for approximately 30% more than equivalent horsepower tractors from Massey Ferguson or Ford. That injection system, brilliant for performance and economy, but required specialized diagnostic equipment found only at authorized dealers. The premium cab materials deteriorated faster than cheaper alternatives when exposed to agricultural chemicals. Steyr's market share steadily eroded through the 1980s and 1990s. While the company still exists today as part of CNH Industrial, the independent Austrian engineering philosophy that made tractors like the 8090 a special was sacrificed to corporate standardization and cost control. The tractors got cheaper and lost their soul. Number 7. Same Leopard 85 Turbo, 1980s. Italian tractor manufacturer. Same produced the Leopard 85 with a feature that should have revolutionized farming: a factory-integrated front loader with computer-controlled self-leveling. Understanding the significance requires understanding the problem. Traditional front loaders required constant manual adjustment as the boom raised and lowered. Lift a bucket of grain, and it would tip backward as you raised it. Skilled operators compensated instinctively, but it remained a constant cognitive load. Same system used hydraulic sensors and a mechanical computer to automatically adjust the bucket angle, keeping it level regardless of boom position. You could lift a full water bucket from ground level to maximum height without spilling a drop. This wasn't electronic wizardry. This was purely hydraulic and mechanical computation, which made it incredibly reliable. The Leopard 85's 85 horsepower 4-cylinder diesel was equally impressive, featuring same-zone direct injection design with specific fuel consumption figures that beat larger competitors. The entire package represented thoughtful, practical innovation. The market response? Enthusiasm followed by disappointment. The self-leveling loader added significant cost, approximately 8,000 to 10,000 Deutsche Marks over a standard loader. Many farmers concluded they could save money and learn to level manually. Additionally, Same's distribution network in Northern Europe was sparse. Buying the tractor meant accepting limited parts availability and service support. Same never achieved the market penetration their engineering deserved. The company continues today but remains a secondary player, forever overshadowed by mass-market manufacturers who prioritized affordability over innovation. Number 6. Valmet 8100 High-Tech 1990s. Finnish manufacturer Valmet created tractors designed for Nordic extremes, machines that started reliably at -40 degrees and handled boggy conditions that would immobilize conventional equipment. The 8100 High-Tech represented the culmination of decades of cold climate engineering. The 6-cylinder Valmet diesel featured advanced glow plug systems, cold start aids, and lubrication designed for extreme temperatures. The transmission oil system included a sophisticated heat exchanger that maintained optimal viscosity regardless of external conditions. But the real innovation was the electronic management system. In the early 1990s, Valmet integrated computer control for hydraulics, transmission, and power takeoff, creating one of the first truly smart tractors. Operators could program implement settings, store different configurations, and recall them instantly. This was iPhone-level user experience in 1993. The High-Tech also featured Valmet's famous rear suspension system, which isolated the cab from the axle, dramatically improving operator comfort on rough terrain. After 8 hours in a standard tractor, operators were exhausted. In a Valmet, they were merely tired. The problem? These tractors cost 520 to 35% more than comparable Massey Ferguson or John Deere models. The electronic systems, while reliable in Finnish winters, sometimes struggled in dusty Mediterranean summers. The specialized cold weather features added cost and complexity that Southern European farmers simply didn't need. Valmet merged with Valtra in the late 1990s, and while the brand continues, the unique Finnish engineering philosophy has been diluted by corporate integration into AGO. The 8100 High-Tech remains a cult favorite among Nordic farmers who appreciate what they lost. Number 5. Deutz-Fahr Agotron TTV 1160. Early 2000s, German manufacturer Deutz-Fahr introduced something genuinely revolutionary, a stepless transmission system that actually worked reliably under agricultural conditions. The TTV designation stood for Tractor Variante Tractor, essentially continuously variable tractor. Unlike earlier attempts that used belt systems or hydraulic converters, Deutz-Fahr developed a split-path transmission combining mechanical and hydrostatic power flow. This hybrid approach provided the infinite variability of a CVT with the efficiency of mechanical gearing. The Agotron TTV 1160 produced 160 horsepower from a 6-cylinder turbocharged diesel. Operators could select a desired ground speed from 50 meters per hour to 50 kilometers per hour, and the transmission automatically optimized engine load and fuel consumption. The system was genuinely transformative for operations requiring constant speed, like precision planting or fertilizer application. German engineering quality was evident throughout. Build quality exceeded anything from American manufacturers. The cab featured genuine automotive-grade materials, exceptional HVAC performance, and sightlines that made 12-hour days tolerable. But this excellence demanded premium pricing. The TTV 1160 sold for approximately 40,000 to 60,000 euros, more than conventional powershift transmissions in the same horsepower class. The transmission itself was a mechanical marvel and a maintenance nightmare. Authorized service was mandatory, and hourly rates reflected German technician wages. A transmission service that cost 500 euros on a conventional tractor ran 2,000 to 3,000 euros on a TTV. Deutz-Fahr discovered that most farmers couldn't justify the premium. Yes, the TTV delivered better fuel economy and productivity, but the payback period stretched to 10 or 15 years. In agriculture, where 5-year equipment cycles are standard, that mathematics didn't work. The technology survived, but only in premium product lines serving large commercial operations. Number 4. Fendt Vario 930. First generation, late 1990s. Speaking of stepless transmissions, we can't discuss expensive European innovation without mentioning Fendt's Vario system, arguably the most successful failure on this list. Fendt, another German manufacturer, introduced the Vario transmission in 1995. Like Deutz-Fahr's TTV, it provided infinitely variable speed control. Unlike the TTV, Fendt's marketing and dealer network actually convinced farmers to pay the premium. The first-generation 930 Vario produced 240 horsepower, enormous for the late 1990s. Combined with the stepless transmission, it delivered unprecedented productivity. The system's party trick was maintaining constant engine RPM regardless of ground speed or load, optimizing fuel consumption and reducing operator fatigue. Fendt's cab design set industry standards. Climate control actually maintained set temperatures. Seat suspension and cab isolation turned 12-hour days into merely long workdays rather than endurance tests. The electronics package included yield mapping and GPS preparation years before competitors offered these features as standard equipment. But here's the catch. The 930 Vario cost approximately 25 to 30% more than equivalent John Deere or Case IH tractors. Early Vario transmissions, while revolutionary, suffered reliability issues that reinforced skepticism about complex German engineering. Repair costs were astronomical. A transmission rebuild could exceed 30,000 to 40,000 euros. Fendt's failure was relative. While they never achieved mass market penetration, they carved a profitable niche, serving customers who valued sophistication over affordability. Agio acquired Fendt in 1997. Recognizing the brand's premium positioning. Today, Fendt tractors remain expensive, but they survived by owning their premium identity rather than compromising it. Number 3. Lamborghini R6 160 DCR 2000s. Yes, that Lamborghini. Before focusing exclusively on supercars, Lamborghini Trattori built genuinely innovative agricultural equipment. The R6 160 DCR represented Italian engineering theater applied to farming. This wasn't marketing fantasy. The tractor incorporated genuine Formula One-derived technology. The 6-cylinder diesel featured common rail injection with piezoelectric injectors, delivering injection pressures exceeding 1,800 bar. For context, most agricultural diesels operated at 1,000 to 1,400 bar. The result? Phenomenal power delivery, exceptional fuel atomization, and emissions figures that met Euro standards years early. The DCR system, diesel common rail, provided throttle response that felt genuinely sporty. Combined with sophisticated electronic management, the R6 160 DCR delivered performance that embarrassed larger tractors. The transmission featured Lamborghini's power shuttle system, a power shift setup allowing directional changes without clutching. The hydraulic system delivered 120 liters per minute flow rate with pressure control that enabled genuinely precise implement operation. Italian styling meant the tractor actually looked good. While Americans built purely functional equipment, Lamborghini incorporated flowing lines, integrated lighting, and color schemes that suggested design consideration beyond agricultural pragmatism. The price? Absolutely brutal. The R6 160 DCR sold for premiums approaching 40 to 50% over comparable mainstream tractors. That common rail system required specialized diagnostic equipment and technician training, unavailable outside major Italian cities. Farmers discovered that buying Lamborghini's cheapest product still meant accepting Lamborghini maintenance costs. Lamborghini Trattori was eventually sold to same Deutz-Fahr group. While the brand continues, the unique Italian performance philosophy was diluted by corporate badge engineering. The R6 160 DCR represents the last gasp of genuinely distinctive Italian tractor design. Number 2. County Forward Control Tractors. 1970s to 1980. British manufacturer County Engineering took a radical approach, put the engine behind the driver for perfect weight distribution and visibility. County's forward control tractors looked bizarre, like someone installed the cab backward. But the engineering logic was impeccable. With the engine behind the operator, weight distribution approached 50-40 front to rear. This dramatically improved traction, reduced soil compaction, and provided visibility that made precision work genuinely easier. The County Elk-Even 74 represented their flagship, producing 170 horsepower from a turbocharged 6-cylinder engine. The cab placement provided unprecedented implement visibility. Operators could see exactly where front-mounted equipment contacted the ground. For operations like precision planting or vegetable harvesting, this visibility advantage was transformative. County sourced components from major manufacturers: Ford engines, David Brown transmissions, ZF axles. This approach ensured reliability, while allowing County to focus on their unique layout advantages. The market response was enthusiasm from specialists and indifference from mainstream farmers. The forward control layout added significant manufacturing complexity. Each tractor was essentially hand-built, with fabrication costs that mass-production manufacturers avoided through standardization. County tractors sold for premiums approaching 30 to 40% over conventional layouts. Worse, the unique design created used market problems. Conventional tractors held resale value because everyone understood them. County tractors, regardless of condition, faced skeptical buyers worried about parts availability and repair expertise. This resale uncertainty made the already expensive purchase even riskier. County ceased tractor production in 1983, unable to achieve the volume necessary for survival. Today, remaining examples are collector's items, appreciated by enthusiasts who recognize innovative engineering when they see it, even if the market didn't. Number 1. Schlüter Super-Trac Series, 1960s to 1980. Our number 1 entry represents perhaps the most brilliant and most commercially doomed tractor concept ever produced. German manufacturer Schlüter's equal-sized four-wheel drive Super-Trac. Schlüter's innovation was using identically sized wheels front and rear, all driven with articulated steering. This wasn't typical four-wheel drive with smaller front wheels. This was perfect weight distribution, minimal soil compaction, and traction that allowed these tractors to work in conditions that immobilized conventional equipment. The Super-Trac 2500 TVL represented the pinnacle: 250 horsepower from a Mercedes V8 diesel, articulated steering, equal-sized wheels, and a transmission that offered everything from creeper gear precision to road speeds exceeding 40 kilometers per hour. The hydraulic system delivered flows and pressures that enabled running multiple high-demand implements simultaneously. Build quality was extraordinary. Schlüter fabricated frames from heavy-gauge steel that could handle stresses exceeding design specifications by comfortable margins. The drivetrain featured components more commonly found in construction equipment: oversized, overspec'd, and built for decades of hard use. Farmers who bought Schlüters became lifelong evangelists. These tractors worked when nothing else could. The equal-sized wheels and weight distribution meant they pulled where conventional tractors spun helplessly. Soil compaction was demonstrably lower, improving yields over time. But Schlüter's perfectionism created impossible economics. Each Super-Trac was essentially custom-built, with manufacturing costs that mass production competitors avoided entirely. The tractors sold for prices approaching double that of equivalent horsepower conventional machines. That Mercedes diesel? Brilliant for power and reliability, catastrophically expensive when it needed service. The dealer network was sparse. parts were expensive, and resale values collapsed because most farmers couldn't justify the initial premium, let alone the used market risk. Schlüter ceased production in 1993, unable to compete with mass-market manufacturers. Today, Super-Tracs command cult-following prices among collectors who appreciate engineering without compromise, even if that purity guaranteed commercial failure. These 10 tractors represent a sobering truth about innovation. Being brilliant isn't enough. Every machine on this list incorporated genuine advances that the industry eventually adopted after their creators were gone. CVT transmissions, common rail injection, electronic management, forward control layouts, equal-sized four-wheel drive. These weren't failures of imagination. They were failures of timing, pricing, and market reality. The tractors that survived weren't always the best. They were the affordable, the serviceable, and the adequately good enough. Sometimes in farming, as in life, perfect is the enemy of profitable.